Hello there, everybody. Good afternoon. Um, this afternoon, we will talk about the photography 101. It's the basic principle how you use a this one SLR camera with 35 millimeter. Okay. Now this one is an analog camera as opposed to a DSLR, which is called a digital camera. This one is one that we all know that we have to load film right here so that we can have the desired picture that we want to take. Now I won't discuss any further about this Nikon F3 in particular. However, we are only discussing this afternoon the basics of photography, that how we can possibly take better pictures and what are the things that we need to know as far as this basic analog camera is concerned. So choosing the best brand of SLR for you is a matter of choice, and not just you can rely on numerous reviews online, or you can probably watch YouTube to check the qualities and quirks and features of these cameras. But chances are, at the end of the day, it is your style and the way of using the camera will somehow give you better or best quality of pictures that you can get from these SLR cameras. Talk of this analog photography, we are talking here of the body. This is the body and this is the lens. Now the lens is one thing that we need to know that is very important in as far as this analog photography is concerned, because if you have a better quality of lens, the chances are you will have better results of pictures. Okay, now in this kind of SLR, you have varieties of lenses. This one is a fixed lens, which is a 100mm with 2.8 f-stop. Now we have some other lenses available in the market, like this one. This is a zoom lens, which is a variable lens, which is 90mm, okay, up to 250mm, no? And another one we have here is this one that is used for Canon, no? This one is a zoom lens that has the range of 100mm to 200mm. No? Well, when it comes to SLR cameras, there are so many brands available outside in the market. No, we have here this one, of course, the Nikon. You have the Canon. You have the Minolta. No, example, this one is Canon. This is AE1. Okay, you have here another one. This Minolta, classic Minolta, the Minolta SRT 101. And another one I have here is this Nikon F, which is one of those iconic cameras of all times. Okay, when it comes to analog photography, SLR is only one of those cameras that you can pick, no, or choose. Now you have here this so-called rangefinder, which is we have the Leica M series, which are so famous, and also Nikon S series that came first before that Nikon F. And you have here also the medium format, which is the Hasselblad, one of those brand that people would really love to use, because this is quite expensive, although giving so good quality of pictures. No, you have here another the Pentax 6x7 and also Kiev 60. These are only examples of those medium format cameras not available out in the market. But when it comes to SLR cameras, it is very crucial for you to have good quality of lens, because seeing through the lens, no, looking through the viewfinder, you can see the image, no, that is being taken by the lens. So the lens, the image will be reflected in the mirror. No, if you will just remove this one, okay. So the lens, rather the image now will be reflected in the mirror right here, and then it will bounce up, going to the prism, then going out of the viewfinder. Okay, so what the image that you will see from the viewfinder that will be taken by the lens is the exact replication of the picture that you will get. No, but of course it's simpler said than done, but there are many things we have to consider as far as these SLR cameras are concerned. First and foremost, before we go any further, we have to understand first the mechanics of this analog photography, or the SLR. Okay, now basic thing for you to know is the shutter speed, and of course the aperture. Now this one is the speed of the shutter that will open for you to take the picture coming from this lens going to your film right here at the back. Now, it's very important, it's very crucial, because the light that will come in will somehow affect the quality of the picture that you will take, and of course the exposure, whether it will be underexposed or overexposed. Now, a simple thing for you to know is that if the speed is higher, okay, let's say this one is well, if this one is set to 2000, that is equivalent to 1 is to 2000 of a second. So therefore the shutter speed is faster. Chances are the light that will come in will be very minimal, or only will be exposed in a shorter period of time. Hence, you have to have your proportionate aperture opening right here. So therefore, this one is good for your the so-called shallow depth of field. If you want to have a greater bokeh, which is if your subject is right here and then your background is a bit blurry compared to your subject, and also those things that are in front of the subject, you can use this higher speed, and then with a wider opening. You are taking some pictures, let's say, of a sports, better pictures that there's no blurry, you have to use also this higher speed. If the sun is not shining bright, and therefore you have limited available lights outside, you can probably set shutter speed into lower number, so therefore let's say you can expose your film to 1 second, 2 seconds, depending on the image that you'd like to have and the style that you would like to take. Now, also this you have to understand also this aperture opening, no? So this one is 100 millimeter with an opening of 2.8. Now if you will set this to, let's say, 22, okay, and you can check that the opening is now smaller, okay? So you can set it, let's say, 5.6, okay, and that will be bigger opening. So meaning, if the opening is bigger, chances are there will be more lights that will come in, and therefore greater exposure will have to be go into your film, okay? If you will close this a bit further, then there will be a limited amount of light that will be coming in. The use of film, okay, now I have here this example. This one is a monochrome. This is a lomography, okay? So ASA or ISO, as we know it right now, this will somehow affect the this is the speed of your film, and so therefore if you have lower number of ISO, therefore your film is less sensitive to lights. Now if you have a higher number of ISO, let's say 40 and up, or 1000 for that matter, then your film is more sensitive to light. And so this Nikon F3, the ISO is located here in the bottom portion, okay, of the winder. You just have to lift this up like that, and you can now rotate and go to your desired ISO. So if your film is with 100 ISO, then you can set this here. If your ISO, let's say it's different ISO of let's say 400, so you can set here 400 ISO. So another thing we need to know is this on the upper portion of left portion of this camera, you have the winder. Now if you're already finished with your exposure of 36 films, shots, so you have to wind your film clockwise like that. But before you do that, there is a setting right here. You have to press this one, okay? For you can now rewind your film. You have to open the back for you to remove the film. There's a latch right here that you have to push, and then pull this up, okay? And then the back door will open, okay? This is the space for your film canister. You have to pull your film going here. Now take note that you have this 2 rails up and then 2 rails down. So the two rails in the middle, this one will guide you the film going right here, and guide again for the film not to go up or not to go down, okay? Now this is the sprocket, the once you're advancing your film advancer, you can see that this one is already advancing, okay? and then this will your film will holes will have to be lined up with this bracket and going to the spool right here. Okay, now at the back of your door, you have here this one is the pressure plate. You can see there's a spring tension. Okay, this one pushes the film right here so that there will be no unnecessary movement of the film. If the film is right there and the film is not lax, now it's firmly placed right there so that the exposure will be evenly distributed. Okay, let's just close this for a while. Now going back on top of our camera, no? So we have here the this is the advancing lever that advances the film. Okay, just do that, and then this is your shutter release. Okay, so for you to do that is once you have already advanced the film, you can now use this one for you to take the picture. You have to make the necessary selection of your shutter speed and of course your aperture, and then make the focusing, and then you're now ready to take the picture. On this portion now, you have here the film counter, no? That how many exposures have you have done already. But now you have here the switch for this particular camera. One is for your self timer. Okay, this one is set right here, so then you advance the cocking lever. Okay, and then press this one. The timer now will be on a timer mode, and therefore that will be around 10 seconds for you to stand up and just to compose yourself, and then picture will be taken of yours. Okay, now this one is the lever for your multiple exposure. Now if you want to expose your film, let's say one, two or three more exposures, so therefore you have to use this one. No, just turn this counterclockwise and then advance the advance lever, and then you will now have this another exposure that you need to do. But first, you need to know that when you are on a multiple exposure setting, the film right here will not advance, and therefore the film that already been exposed will have to be re-exposed again for the second time. But take note, whenever you are into this so-called multiple exposures, you need to understand that if you will expose your film twice, and if your ASA is let's say 400, you have to adjust your ASA and put it to 200, because if you will expose your film without however changing your setting from 400 to 200, you will have overexposure of your film because you will expose it twice. Okay, or if aside from doing that, you can also adjust your shutter speed. So if your shutter speed now is let's say 1000, you can probably set it to 500 for you to expose the film twice. Okay, this specific camera, this Nikon F3, this one is powered by batteries, and so therefore this cannot be operated manually, except of course if the battery is already dead. This can be used using this shutter release, no, with only speed of 90, 1:90 per second. Okay, this one can be used. We have to understand that this camera, there is a so-called built-in TTL or through the lens metering. Okay, so therefore you need to look into this viewfinder. You can see there the exposure for you to know. Actually, in this one there are negative and positive signs. If you are turning your aperture, let's say on a bigger opening, and then you will see there right here there's a display right there. If the displays minus sign, and therefore the exposure will be underexposure. If there will be a plus sign, so therefore there will be an overexposure. So you must have the middle of the positive and of the negative sign. The thing that we need to understand, particularly with this camera, of course, your depth of field preview. Okay, this button now shows the depth of field preview, and therefore if you will set this one example to opening of 5.6, and you'll try to press the button right here, you will see now the depth of field preview, and the diaphragm will close, and see the opening, it's smaller. The setting of this camera is the so-called exposure compensation. Okay, it is located right here on the in between this winder and this prism. Okay, now when shooting backlit or spotlit subjects, or when special effects are desired, of course, turn the film dial, no? Speed dial, and make exposure composition by aligning the pointer, okay, with this required setting on the exposure composition scale. Like this one is set here on 0, no? The exposure composition scale has 4 click stop setting, or depends on the camera that you have. This one has numerous stops, no? Press this one and then you see, okay, stops right there, okay. And then the pointer can also be set to an in-between setting, no? There's an in-between setting yun. To make exposure compensation, turn the film dial, no, speed dial, and align the exposure compensation pointer with the required setting on the scale. Okay. So if you want to have better exposure, and then you want to set it to an additional, okay. No, sorry, this is a lesser exposure, no, and then you will compensate it. You have a better exposure to +1. Then you can set it there, and then make the necessary exposure of your film, okay? If you're into flash photography or during the night time, you have to understand that in some cameras, not this one, there's flash mounting right here. We'll use another camera. One has this hot shoe, okay? Hot shoe meaning this is the contact for your flash, okay? This one. And then, meaning there's no need for you to use your this wire for you to touch your or plug in your flash to your camera. Now if you have the cold shoe, okay, this camera has this cold shoe, meaning there's no contact right here. So in this one, you need to have the this plug, no? You need to place this plug right here in the X, okay? So if that is placed right there, and therefore that is now synchronized to your shutter speed, okay? Now if you will use this camera with this cold shoe and then using this flash, no, your shutter speed must also be synchronized with your flash, and of course with your plug in right here, X, that's X. And so therefore if you're using this camera, this is a SRT 101 Minolta, okay? So you have to set your shutter speed to 60, okay, for you to get better results. Otherwise, if you will set it on a higher shutter speed, chances are there will be your flash will not be synchronized with the opening of your camera, and so therefore portion of your film will not be exposed properly, and about only a fraction of your portion of your picture will have to be exposed using this flash. I have covered everything as far as this basic photography, this SLR analog photography is concerned. If you have some comments, suggestions, or if I missed something, you can make the necessary comment below, of course, and I would appreciate it if you like this video and subscribe to this channel. Well, as far as I know, I have nothing against digital photography, but I'm just trying to appreciate the quality that you'll get from this film camera, of course, and you have to be intentional of the subject that you're taking, because you have to pose for a while, compose yourself, and then make the necessary adjustment and everything of your camera before you can take pictures. And then you have to slow down, because there is no immediate gratification as far as this analog camera is concerned, because you cannot see the end result of the picture you have taken as distinguished from a DSLR. You can just view it at the back, and therefore you can now delete all those unnecessary pictures that you have taken, and just save those pictures that you know to yourself that you have achieved the right composition and right exposure and everything. But this one, every exposure you make is essential. Why? Because you have to go to your nearest developing center for you to appreciate the pictures that you have taken. And for you to have better pictures, you have to have the mastery of your camera, the one that you have. So as we all know, there are so many awesome cameras out there, digital or analog, as the case may be. But one thing before I end, the best camera in the world, of course, is the one that you own. Okay? Thank you very much and have a good day.